Factor Uncensored starts now. And welcome to the early edition of the Factor Uncensored. I'm Isaiah Carey. We call this Primetime Live. And joining me on tonight, we have with us producer extraordinaire. We call her Sonora Harris with the glossy lips. Are they glossing tonight, Sonora?
I just got done reapplying it to make sure you didn't catch me slipping.
All right. So how you doing today? I think we have tomorrow off, so it'll be a vacation day. You'll have a long weekend, 4th of July weekend. What do you have planned?
Stressing out about my dog. That's all I think about these days as a new pet parent.
What happened?
All I think about is, is her poop? Is it a good consistency? Did she poop? Did she pee? Did she pee in my house?
Oh my God. I'm kind of sorry I asked about that.
That's what I got going on. But it's a fabulous time.
Bring your pet to work day.
I was thinking about that for one of our next shoots. Absolutely. I'll bring her.
All right. We'll think about that, and we'll catch up with you in just a second. We have a jam-packed show, and we have more guests standing by to join us here on the Factor Uncensored. We have great topics coming your way. And of course, we'll be talking about some of the most influential people in Texas. But first, we're going to begin with the Horror House. And joining us to talk about this is criminal defense attorney and, of course, expungement expert, Emily Mitchell. Emily, welcome to Primetime Factor Uncensored, 8 o'clock. And of course, glad to have you here. And you're spending a lot of time with us at 10:30 at night on the big show. Wanted to bring you here to the 8:30 show and baptize you in on the show. How are you, Emily?
I'm well. I'm happy to be here.
All right. Glad to have you. So, Emily, you and I will talk about what they're calling a house of horrors out of Ohio. Now, there's a very disturbing child neglect case drawing national attention after authorities rescued children from what is being described as an Ohio house of horrors. Now, in this house, they found 16 children living together in one room. That room is 12 by 12. They said the conditions were deplorable, horrible, just mind-blowing. One of the deputy sheriffs and the sheriff himself said, I still can't get rid of the smell that I encountered inside of that house. So 4 adults were arrested in that case and charged with felony neglect of a child. Now, they talked to many of the neighbors in the community, and all of them said, we didn't even know these children were in that house. Now, it's my understanding they moved around for the last 2 decades and they landed in this Ohio community. It is described as a very poor community. And many people just didn't know. A poor community, but also very quiet. And many people did not know what was going on inside of this house. Now, the extent of the abuse, we're not sure if there was sexual abuse or not. But these are the 4 individuals you're looking at, their mugshots there, and they have all been charged with felony. They're all family members, and they called this an intra-family case, meaning only family members were involved. They said the kids were essentially off the grid. They were not in school. They were not in the system at all. When you think about CPS, when you think about Social Security numbers, when you think about identification, because one was as old as 18 years old. They were just trapped in this house, Emily, and it reminds me of the old book, nightmarish book of Flowers in the Attic, where you have these innocent children and you lock them up, lock them away from the public, and no one ever sees them. It's a reminder, of what goes on in this country and around the world. Many people find themselves shocked at cases like this, but you'd be surprised just how many cases are out there. I think, Emily, it was once Mark Twain who says, we're all like a moon. We all have a dark side, but we rarely show it to anyone. So, Emily, your thoughts about this case?
Well, I think the facts of this case are absolutely horrible. And I know it's being reported that nobody knew, no adults outside the home knew that the kids were there, but 16 children are a lot of children to hide. And
Yeah.
so it just makes me wonder. I realize that the reports indicate that there were no Social Security records and things like that, but it makes me wonder whether there are birth records, and why hasn't anyone followed up since they were born? And if there are no birth records, I also wonder, to give birth, did the parents have help from outside the home to maybe have a home birth or something like that? There's got to be. I'm really surprised that there are no other adults who knew about these children or knew about the conditions that they were living in. So I think that number of people is incredibly hard to hide.
And of course, they interviewed mainly senior citizens in that community. And then I don't know how mobile those senior citizens were, if they were able to get around to see the house and determine if there were children living there. Once again, you're looking at the family members who were arrested in this case, and those are the mugshots. They were charged by the sheriff's department there. But it's absolutely mind-blowing. And Emily, you have questions on how there are no records and no one could know. I believe this is very possible, especially in rural counties here in America where people are not, it's not like the hustle and bustle of the big city. Maybe they didn't have a lot of visitors. Maybe family members knew to keep their mouths closed or didn't know any better. Many of the children had to be taken to the hospital and treated immediately because they were in poor condition. But I am not surprised, Emily, like you are. I'm not surprised what can go on in these corners of America where people are essentially locked away off the grid, out of the public, and there is no one there to knock on the door and to check on them.
Yeah, I still am surprised. I still am surprised because according to certain reports, the family moved around quite a bit. And so I just wondered, no one noticed this family moving around with this huge brood of children. It didn't raise any suspicion anywhere. But I'm curious to see what else develops of this case. But the facts truly are, oh, they're heartbreaking. They are heartbreaking. And my heart really goes out to those children because for all that time to not receive adequate care, adequate food, a safe, healthy environment in which to live, that's just heartbreaking.
Absolutely. And let's put up the booking photos once again. And they have been identified as Gary Siders Jr., Gary Siders Sr., Elizabeth Siders, and Christina Siders. And they all appeared in court Wednesday, just yesterday, where a judge entered not guilty pleas on their behalf. And their bond set at $300,000 each. Needless to say, they won't be going anywhere. Individuals investigating the case described it as pure evil. Pure evil. 16 children living in a 12 by 12 room all together. The community, Hamden, Ohio, is about 1,000 people who are living there, and it's 80 miles southeast of Columbus. And it's just mind blowing. Obviously, like you're feeling that this has gone under the radar, but I'm not shocked. We had a case just last week where children were uh, essentially locked in their homes and abused, and we see cases like that all the time where family members, moms, dads, grandmothers, grandfathers tend to lock them up and keep them in the house. So I'm thinking, Emily, they also need to do a mental health check on the adults as well to figure out what's going on with them, you know, with them keeping those 18 children and then I'm 16 children, and with one of them being 18, I'm afraid to think the worst. Could there be those children who may have had children within that group, Emily?
That was one of my first suspicions, is that there
Yeah.
might be there might be some incest there with just the number of children. It
Mhm.
raises it immediately triggers that suspicion for me. So I would like to. So my first inclination would be to get those children tested to find out exactly how they're related to one another.
And let's keep those facts up, guys. And I wanted to say, Emily, if you read the book or take a look at the movie, Flowers in the Attic, there's also, well, the movie kind of glossed over it, but there's also, when you lock those children up, the brother and the sister began a sexual relationship, and because they're locked, that's all they know. I know it's not their fault. It's the parents' fault for locking them up, and that's the only people they come into contact with are those individuals that they are locked up with. But luckily, they have been rescued. Those parents will face justice, maybe grandparents as well, and figure out what's going on, and those kids can get the help. Now, here's some facts that we have prepared for you. When it comes to children were victims of abuse or neglect in 2024, 500,000 times around this country. And I think, Emily, and you would agree, that number is probably low.
Oh,
because
vastly underreported, vastly.
Yeah, because like this case, it's under the radar. 79% of children were mistreated. Victims experienced neglect. 76% of children victims were victimized by a parent or legal guardian, and 1,700 children died from abuse or neglect in 2024. And I'm thinking that number could be higher because people are still burying bodies in the backyard. We just haven't discovered it yet. We think we're such an informed society and we know everything that's going on in this country, and we simply don't, Emily.
That's right. And I wouldn't be surprised if that number were higher because, to the point of this particular case, if nobody knows that you were even born, would they know to look for you if you suddenly disappeared, if you suddenly fell off of the grid, especially if you're a small child? So I do believe that these child abuse numbers are vastly underreported.
Absolutely. Well, guys, if you see something out there, say something. We have a comment here where an individual says, "C. Dion." I'm gonna have to get Sonora to read that name. Boy, I butcher names on here. And she says, and it's society's fault for not offering any options. So what do you think about that comment, not offering any options? I think when you have parents and grandparents who may not have it all there, and society that know that those children are there, how can we help? Obviously, if we're neighbors, friends, family, and we see something, then we should report it or confront that family. But if we as a society don't know in general that these children even exist, how are we to take action, Emily?
I think that one thing that we can do as a society is become a little bit more curious about our neighbors. I mean, I grew up in a time when, if I wasn't acting right at school or something like that, it didn't take my parents to become concerned or to become curious about me. The neighbors would become curious. And so I think that might be something that we need to do is maybe reach out a little bit more to find out who's living around us. So, because you never know what people are going through, and just simply getting your eyeballs on your neighbors to figure out who lives there and who's supposed to be living there, who haven't you seen in a while. That might be a way to maybe get our arms around this issue a little bit more.
And Emily, I don't want to get in trouble with my neighbors, but I was telling my coworkers in our editorial meeting, I've known my neighbors for like 20 years. And all of a sudden, a 16-year-old walks out of the house. And I'm like, who the hell is that? And it was their son, but I'd never, ever, ever seen him before. And they're always outside in the yard. And I'm like, where the hell did this kid come from? And that's the way people can have their children under the radar. Maybe I missed something. I worked different shifts while working here for the last 20 years, but I'm there in the daytime. I'm there in the nighttime sometimes. And on the weekends, I've never seen this kid. He just popped up. I'm like, I thought he was breaking into their house.
Oh, no. Not that.
Please, neighbors, don't hold it against me.
Not a burglar.
And one of our Harry says, "See Dion, I'm gonna get this name, Dion D. Okay, Emily, can you see that name?
No, I cannot. Ooh, you got me. Harry
Okay,
is the last name.
we're gonna just say Harry says that's it to your comment, Emily. That person is agreeing with you. And David Green says that's the American way. Well, I'm not sure about that, David Green, but what do you think, Emily? I
I
think
don't
this
think
is
that
a
that's the
problem
American
all over the
way.
world.
Yeah, I think that we're nosy about things we want to be nosy about, right?
Mhm.
You know, we nosy
All
about
right,
Taylor Swift's wedding.
Emily, we thank you for dropping by for the first time, prime time, Factor Uncensored. And of course, we'll see you later on The Late Show. So thank you for joining us and enjoy your 4th of July weekend.
Same to you. Thanks for having me.
All righty. All right, guys, remember, oh, there we go. C. Dion. C. Dion. I got it now, C. Dion. C. Dion D. So when Sonora gets here, she'll be able to figure it out easily. She's great with these names. But on to the next topic here, the top 250 most influential Texans since 1976. Now, this has been in the Chron.com. And joining us now to talk about it, let's bring in our guests, cue the audience, cue the applause. It's a superstar reporter of print and TV with ties all over the community, sources around every corner, and only one article away from the Pulitzer. We have our guy, Ahmed Humble.
Isaiah is giving me too much credit. None of this could have happened without him who believed in me first. Let's just get
Oh,
that out of the way.
stop,
Let's
but
just get that out of the
continue
way.
on. Look,
And
maybe our good friend is watching, Dr. Danish Ali. He's calling as soon as I'm introducing you.
uh, and also just a small correction. It's since 1776.
All right, 1776. Got it. Don't you know any better not to correct a host on the
I
air?
know, right? I
Just slip
know.
it in. God damn it, Ahmed. This is what happens when I invite you on here. All my life I had to fight. All right. Ahmed Humble from Chron.com. So, how did you guys compile this list?
So it all basically started with a big brainstorm of all of our staff members. We're a staff of over 20. And we started off, I think, with like 400 names of who are the most influential Texans in our opinion. And then we rated them from everybody from 1 to 10 in terms of influence, both in Texas, superiority in the line of work, popularity, whether they're quintessentially Texan in the eyes of others, like Matthew McConaughey, or, go from there. Then we listed out by score, started moving folks up and down. And after a heavy debate, lots of arguing, lots of disagreeing, we listed out the scores, started moving folks up and down after, again, more arguments. And then we had one-on-one battles to really tinker with the end. And it's been a long process. I joined Chron in October, and I want to say like in November is when we first started talking about it. And now it's fully come to fruition.
And so to have this list, how is the public responding to it? And we'll get to the list in just a minute, but I've seen some people in the comments, they're going back and forth. They want this person on the list. They want this person off, further down, higher up. So how's the public responding?
It's been a lot of like people going, oh, this person got snubbed. And we encourage the heavy debating. But I think what it really helps boil down to is most people are going to start to find out people that they didn't know before. People like Jack Kilby, who invented the microchip. There's a scientist from UT that I'd never heard of before, but one of the people whose names I had to write a blurb for as part of my contribution, he helped invent, or not he helped, he did invent the ion battery. Little things like this. The guy who invented Texas Instruments calculators. Michael Dell is in the top 10 of Dell computers. It's people like this. They're like, oh, wow, I didn't know. So I hope that it's going to get people to discuss, but it also get people curious.
Absolutely. It's for entertainment and also education. I can
Incredible,
remember
yeah.
using those Texas Instruments calculators in Louisiana as a kid. And I always wonder, do they make these in Texas? And Actually, back then they did. They don't make anything in America anymore. Not even the damn iPhone. Do they make the iPhone in America?
We got calculators on our iPhone, so it doesn't matter.
All right, Ahmed, let's take a look at the top 10 on the list. Let's start with number 10, Michael Dell. And of course, all of us know Dell Computer.
Yeah, and of course there's Selena. A lot. So it was funny. A historian that I reached out to, he noticed that we were paying a lot of attention to more contemporary artists, and he had a problem with that. And a lot of people probably go, "Oh, why is Willie Nelson lower than Beyonce?" And part of that is just global popularity that Bey does. It just puts her a little bit over him, but.
Mhm.
It's like how global, how much of a reach, and how much of a Texan. So I think we can all agree that in terms of Texas, Lyndon B. Johnson is definitely like up there, right up there with Sam Houston, Stephen F. Austin, who is considered the father of Texas.
Absolutely. The guy we consider tough as nails, Lyndon B. Johnson, who had a role in civil rights. And Barbara Jordan. Incredible icon there. Recently, God, I can't think of his name now. I just went blank. Was elected to what would have been her old 18th congressional district.
Christian Menifee.
Christian Menifee. And of course, we've had Sheila Jackson Lee in that seat. We've had former Mayor Sylvester Turner, Mickey Lee, and just the list goes on and on and on. And she was an incredible orator. When I tell people, Google some of her video or go to YouTube and listen to some of her videos, and the eloquence in which she speaks is mind-blowing. She was a powerful spokesperson, spoke at the Democratic National Convention, one of the first Black females to do that. It was just mind-blowing. And
Sheila,
George W. Bush, well, go ahead, Ahmed.
I was going to say Sheila Jackson Lee is also in the top 250.
Got it.
Yeah.
And you break the list down, or do you give everything to the public, or do they have to go through and there are different links?
No, it's all in the same.
Chronicle.
It's all in the same article. If you go to the homepage, it says ranked. That's the one. And if you're curious how we did it, there's an article about the methodology as well.
Okay. And I heard you guys talking as staff at Chron.com about deciding how and who would go where on the list. And I didn't hear, did you say did the public have a say at all in this?
Yeah, whenever before we launched the final rankings, we did give everybody a chance. Who is the most influential musician? Who is the most influential politician? And people got a chance to weigh in, and we hoped that they did. I want to say we gave them like 2-3 weeks in advance, and before the final list went live yesterday.
So this is a great list and has been making the news. And here you are making the news for it on the Factor Uncensored Primetime edition at 8 o'clock. So how's life for you? You've always been a great reporter. I remember you being here at Fox, and now you're at Chron.com making a name for yourself.
Life is good, man. I love my coworkers. My editors are fantastic. But of course,
somebody's trying to get a raise here. Somebody's trying to get a bigger office or cubicle.
Hey, I'm always working the numbers. But at the same time, I don't forget where I came from. So people like you giving me a chance. And everybody at Fox, like 26 and then beyond, but it's always great to keep making a name, but also remember those who came before me.
And for those who want to see more about this article, the 250 most influential Texans, where can they go to take a look at it? And can you share it? What?
Of course, Chron.com, that's the homepage. Every article on that website is free. Unlike our hardworking colleagues.
It's free. I'm there.
Yeah. Everything is free. There's no paywall. You might have some pesky ads here and there, but it's a free website. You can check out my stories. You can check out any of my colleagues' stories. We're always coming up with cool stuff. We're very happy hour curious.
There you go. And really quick, Clever Girl Reed says Michael Dell should be #1 by global standards. So what do you say about that, Ahmed?
Keep the debate going, but don't just share that with us. Share that with everybody. Share this with your friends. I remember one of my friends was like, "How did Elon Musk get on the list?" And I was like, "Hey, did he not shape Texas?" He said, "How did Joe Rogan get on the list? Like, did he not help kind of shape Texas in a
Oh yeah,
sense?"
Joe Rogan. You know, we both have a mutual friend, Jay Patel, who owns King's Court. And one day, Willie D from the Ghetto Boys brought
Yeah.
Joe Rogan to King's Court. And everyone was like, I'm going to go meet Joe Rogan. I'm like, who the hell is Joe Rogan? and Ahmed, I always say, it's the best thing possible is to try to get to know everybody you may encounter and know something about everything. And I always hate not knowing who Joe Rogan was and just how big he was. And this was like 5-6 years ago. And
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, now I know who Joe Rogan is. But he was there in Edo playing pool on a pool table with Willie D from the Ghetto Boys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, it's little things like that. You gotta know. I remember when I interviewed Paul Wall, everybody was so excited for me. I was excited for me because I was born and raised in Houston. My wife, lovely Emily from San Antonio, was like, "Who's Paul Wall?"
Well, there you go. Well, Ahmed, good to see you here. You're at chron.com, where you can take a look and read and then debate the 250 most influential Texans since 1776. Ahmed, good to see you at thechron.com, and thank you for joining us here on the Factor Uncensored, our primetime edition. And you take care, sir.
You as well, sir. Thank you.
All righty. Bye-bye. Up next, now what? We're talking about the craziness of a UPS delivery driver. Is Sonora coming back for this one? Oh, no. We got Jay Bradley. Jay Bradley with the medium shirt on. Jay Bradley, come on down. The guy
so my medium days are over, man.
We call him medium.
My medium days are over. I'm back to full large. I was in these streets mediumed out, and now I'm large.
So you're a pet owner, dog owner. You love your dog. And now going viral is a story involving a UPS delivery guy who apparently some say went too far. So I tell you what, let's just show the video first, and then we can talk about it. Can we restart it? Can we start it over? Okay, roll it.
Now what? What's wrong?
And there it is. You have the UPS driver. He was delivering a package. The dog charged him. He slammed the dog with the package. We're told that package is about 30 pounds in weight. And when the owner came out, the UPS driver squared up like, I'm whoop your ass too. You next. And already kick your dog's ass. You're next. So from a dog owner's perspective, Jay Bradley, did this UPS driver do anything wrong if that dog charged him aggressively like that?
Man, not at all.
See how I put my thumb on the scale? I said that dog charged him aggressively like that. Foaming at the mouth. Foaming.
Just it probably had rabies and a bad leg. No.
Cool Joe.
The UPS driver, you can tell he had already had a day. You know what I mean? He might have got rained on. The package must have been wet. He opened it up. He had to put it all back. Dude walked up, and it's the dog part was the first part, but the second part for me was he was ready for the smoke from the owner, from whatever country, town in Mississippi that they from. No dissonance to this. He was ready for the smoke. Glasses went down, the hat went down, hands was up. The owner had his hands down to his side. He was ready for whatever, man. So shout out to the dude. And it
looks like he's taking some kind of fighting or boxing classes because he had his stance right. You know,
look, he had it ready. He wasn't about to mess up his glasses. He wasn't about to mess up his uniform. It was 100% smoke. But I think the thing about it is the liability goes on the owner, right? Like the guy is doing his job. The dog actually did his job to protect his house, right? The problem is that the owner doesn't have a dog, one of two things, trained correctly, which obviously he doesn't. And two, he's got him off leash. But if you don't have your dog trained correctly, your job is to keep your dog on leash. So the owner's 100%.
The owner make a case, Jay, that we're in our yard and I'm just out playing with my dog, or we just happen to be outside. I don't have to have a leash if I'm not out walking him through the public.
Now, I've had my dog in your studio, and when you saw that 100-pound European Doberman, you was on the other side of this. I remember he was laying down. I wish they had a clip where he was laying down and he moved a little bit. You jumped. So and I'm not saying that the guy is right for throwing the box. If I was in the same situation, I don't know exactly what I would have done, but defending myself with a dog charging at me if the box didn't hit the dog, there's no way that the dog doesn't intersect the UPS driver in an aggressive manner. There's no exact way. If a dog is trying to just stand its ground, and it'll bark, but it's not charging at. That was a very aggressive approach from the dog. And like I said, I've had dogs all my life. Some dogs will bark and kind of give you a warning. That dog was straight going in, man. And so this guy's just trying to deliver a package, man. I mean, just imagine it.
Jay, who are saying that the UPS driver, and I'm not sure, I'll wait for a word from Sonora when she comes on at some point, but there are many people who are saying that the UPS driver should be fired. He harmed the dog. I mean, he reacted. Just try having a dog charge at you and you have to react in a moment's notice. How do you react to that? You're not quite sure. Do you run off and take off running, or do you, throw the box at the dog, even though it's 30 pounds of whatever, a delivery box? I think they said it had 30 pounds of weight in it. Do you do that? 9 times out of 10, I think I would have thrown that box to try and stop the dog.
What if he is, instead of carrying that, he's carrying some flowers or something light? Now we're looking at a whole nother video, and it doesn't make the internet because these guys get bit on a regular basis, which isn't okay. It really is up. I'll put it like this: he would have never had to throw the package if the dog was on the leash or if the dog is trained, right? You had my dog. If he's in a stay position, he's going to stay there regardless of who comes up. If he sees somebody attacking me, then he's going to get active, and it's going to be a different situation. But if you don't have your dog trained, keep him in the house or keep him in the backyard so that way this doesn't happen. The last thing I want is a dog getting hit by a 30-pound box. But you know what doesn't happen? If the dog getting out front, he doesn't get hit with the box.
Got it. And here's some stats that we have, dogs versus mail carriers. And this is from the United States Postal Service. And that incident that you just saw, that's from UPS, the guys in the brown suits. Now, this is from the United States Postal Service, 5,200 plus dog attacks of mail carriers nationwide in 2025. I think that's kind of low. Number 4, Houston's national rank for dog attacks on letter carriers, and 44 reported Houston incidents in 2025. Number 2, Texas ranking. Can you make that big again? Remember, I got old ass eyes. I can't see it when you reduce it. Number 2, Texas state ranking for dog attacks on mail carriers, and 358 reported Texas incidents in 2025. So when we take a look at the dog attacks, 5,200 plus nationwide, I think that's underreported. Totally underreported, Jay.
That might be Texas alone, man.
Right.
That might be Houston. That just might be A-Leaf.
And Sonora's joined us as a new dog owner. I'm sure she wants to put that guy in the electric chair already.
Hell yeah. I mean, so when I first saw that video, I was I'm thinking about my perspective. And if somebody did that to Kelsey, she's just a little 15-pound mini schnauzer. And she's very sweet. I know a lot of people say, like, my dog good, he don't bite, whatever. But my dog is actually very good. But the thought of a delivery driver chucking a 30-pound package at my dog is just like, oh my gosh. But then as I started to read the comments in another comment section, I saw a lot of people saying, like, the dog was not charging, but it appeared to be growling as it was approaching the driver. And, that is a big red flag. And even not even just as a dog owner, just as a person, like, I would be on alert too. Like, I don't want to be attacked on the job, and it's hot as hell too,
And real quick, we got some comments. This world is stone cold crazy. Trying to fight the owner was crazy, though. You gotta give it to him. He was ready for that, and they have insurance. That was an emergency.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jay.
So here's the other thing about it, right? Like, so these guys UPS drivers usually have like the same route. So there's an aspect that we don't know to this is that there's a history with this guy and this dog. And he probably just got fed up at this point. He maybe almost got bit before and had to run in his truck and, hop and close the door real quick. I don't even know if the doors working out, back in the day, they used to work and close the door. But so you never know the history of it. To me, he did already seem like he was tired of it. Like that, I think that would to me would give an understanding of why he was ready for the owner too. Because
there's got to be some history there, as you said, Jay, because like you said, he was ready for the owner. He's like, bring your ass now.
Right. I told you last time. I told once or twice. Now it's go time. Try these UFC classes I did.
Man, that stance was classic. He was ready to go. He looked like he had taken fight lessons. He wasn't like our photographer Starling who fights like this. John Starling who hits like this.
With the windmill.
You know what I'm just thinking? I'm thinking he ran the last time this dog came at him, and then he took some classes. And he was like, and today was the day.
See, he hit that dog with precision too.
He been aiming that box in practice. Just.
But for those who are so concerned about the safety and the condition of the dog just kept at it. It ain't like he fell and passed out and lost consciousness as a dog. The dog was still going around. Let's get this comment in from Clever Girl Reads. Nah, that dude does UFC fighting on the weekends. About right, Clever Girl Reads.
He might have been at the last one at the White House, man. Who knows?
Who knows?
And Jay brought up a good point about leashing your dog. It's something that I try to be cognizant of when I'm taking my dog out for a walk around my building. If there's like small kids, or maybe there's somebody afraid of dogs, I'll when I get in the elevator, I pick her up. Same thing, like right before we leave. If I see other people approaching, whether they're with dogs or not, like I'll pick her up, or we'll go off to the side because she's still a little bit excitable when she sees people, and especially other dogs. So basically, just having that dog on a leash and being near it is just very important.
And do UPS workers and maybe United States Postal Service workers still carry mace with them? At one point long ago, I'm 100, they used to carry the spray with them for dogs. And I don't know if they still do that or not, or if they ever did that. Am I imagining that? We know just last month there was a case where the woman was watching the New York Knicks game at her apartment in Los Angeles, and the police were called, and they thought it was a domestic disturbance that they were responding to, but the woman was celebrating the New York Knicks win, and the cops came there, and I guess one of the dogs charged the cop, or her dog charged the cop, or walked towards the cop. She says walk towards him. the officer said charge them, and so they shot and killed the dog. And so that officer is now the subject of an internal investigation on desk duty. And many people are calling for the termination of that officer. Different circumstances, I think, because that is an officer. They're prepared for all kinds of stuff like that. Did he need to pull the gun? Could he have pulled, maybe some spray, maybe a taser for the dog, or just tell the woman to get the dog? But that's the question. What do we know, Sonora, about the spray and UPS workers and postal workers?
So as far as UPS, they are not allowed to carry mace or pepper spray. Instead, and this is per UPS policy, drivers can use handheld delivery boards as shields, make loud noises, and block aggressive dogs using heavy packages.
He didn't violate policy. He did not violate policy.
He perfected the policy.
Did they really put that? Is that really in their policy, Sonora?
Let me check to see if this is on UPS's website. This is on
Sean
Google.
didn't just add that in there.
What do you mean?
A whole bunch of dogs about to get hit.
Here's what
I'm reading that the post office employees can carry a specific dog repellent just for dogs, but they cannot carry mace, pepper spray, or bear spray.
Got it.
That could be a hazard.
So here's the thing, real quick, too. So we've all been outside and heard the UPS truck coming, right?
You do? You hear it?
That truck, you can hear it for, if not 2 blocks. The 2 sounds coming is a UPS truck and the ice cream man. Yes. I'm almost 102, man. So those 2 noises. If you're a responsible dog owner and you got a package coming, wouldn't you then grab your dog if your dog is with the smoke, right? And then I really just as a responsible dog owner, it comes back to the guy. Just like with you, I know, Isaiah, like if somebody gets intimidated by my dog, even if he's good off leash, I'm going to put him on leash so that way they feel safe in the situation. So I hate to keep putting it back on this guy, man, but this situation doesn't happen if he does what a responsible dog owner would do.
He didn't call the dog back either. Just let the dog walk up on him too.
What he didn't want is that smoke with the dude. His hand stayed down. He said, I ain't got it. All right.
All right, let's go on to the next topic. Jay, you staying with us for the next topic?
Clever.
Not that I'm aware of, but I'm always aware of.
Clever Girl Reed says, Jay in his medium shirt
has made good points.
And guys, if you're joining us here on Primetime Live, Factor Uncensored Early Edition, make sure you leave your comments. We want to hear from you as well. This is part of your show, part of your ride here tonight. And let's move on to the next one, which is children's.
This is my first time on y'all's live. Thank y'all for having me.
Thank you, Jay.
Glad to have you, sir.
Thank you, Jay.
You're always welcome back. All right, next topic, death of children's programming. Children's television is not what it used to be, clearly, with fewer kids watching traditional children's programming and more kids are focused on YouTube, on streamers, and there was a time when many of us, the federal government, the FCC, required certain programming on television at a certain time of day so that children can learn or be entertained, but it couldn't be violent. When I think about growing up, there was Sesame Street on, there was the Electric Company on, there was Zoom on, many of those great shows, educational shows, even the New Zoo Review with Henrietta the Hippo. Boy, I love the.
I don't know what that is.
I'm a smile and nod.
We're just like, what is that?
Yeah.
Remember conjunction function? What's your function?
And that's how you learn English.
Yes, I don't even remember that.
Yeah,
I don't even remember. I don't think that even comes on anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't come on.
My mom used to say it used to be the same episode that I used to watch when she was a kid. She used to watch the same episode as a kid that I used to watch as a kid.
Yeah.
Same episode.
Schoolhouse Rock, and they did grammar and they did politics and they did, I'm just a bill sitting here on Capitol Hill.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that totally makes sense now. But many of the programs are now gone, and young kids are relying on gaming content, influencers, short form videos. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's just a different era. And kids are subjected to more now, especially when parents give them the iPad to keep them busy. They never know what their children are watching on social media and on YouTube, and the possibility of, bad people out there reaching out to your children, because your children now have access to the entire world. We only had 3-4 channels growing up. Like, we had more than that. I don't know where
we had 10.
That makes me feel better. But now, children, they have the world at their fingertips, and parents should be concerned about that, especially when it comes to who may have access to your children. And also, what are they learning? Are they learning anything? Are they learning any social skills? Even the Saturday morning cartoons had guidelines to follow back then. Like one of my favorites, Super Friends. There was really never any violence. And like Shazam, there was a lesson about not doing drugs or being nice to the other person, or just because someone is different, whether they're color-wise or girl or male. We got all of those lessons in our Saturday morning cartoons. But now those lessons are far and few in between when we think about today and what kids are exposed to. But they have a lot of resources at their fingers. They could become geniuses, but will they pick up the educational materials that are available for them on social media, on YouTube? Guys, you want to weigh in?
Yeah. And I also want to get a shout out to, there's a lot of content on TikTok. I have a nephew and he watches a lot of things, a lot of educational things on TikTok. Some of it is probably not for his age, but there's also some things that he can learn from. I know there's like Gracie's Corner. There's what's the lady, Miss Rachel? Miss Rachel.
Miss Rachel. Yep.
Yeah. So a lot of kids are leaning into social media and YouTube. It's just a different time. Kids aren't just watching educational stuff on PBS anymore. They're going to YouTube. They're going to YouTube to watch certain things, and I think that they have a broader amount of things to watch now.
Totally. I mean,
Ryan says, I miss Miss Frizzle.
That's that's Matt.
I know, but Google.
That's
the Magic School Bus.
Miss Frizzle is Magic School Bus?
Yeah, that's like it was like mid-90s.
I thought Matt was closer to my age where he'd be watching the Super Friends and Shazam. He's pretending to be young. Hey, at least I wasn't watching the Flintstones in prime time. That's in the 60s.
You weren't yabba dabba doing?
No,
I was watching a lot of Nick Jr. I was watching a lot of Fox Kids after school. I was telling Sonora earlier, I used to watch One Saturday Morning. I used to come on ABC every Saturday, but I don't think those are educational shows. Telling.
Well, Nick Jr., they had like mostly educational content, mostly. And then, as you know, like what Isaiah mentioned, the content would kind of change after like 1 or 3 p.m.
Yeah. Like during the day, you would have, before there was the proliferation of morning news, the kids who didn't go to school or who still were out of school, there were children's programming on till about 10 a.m. and then your mom's soap operas took over. And from 10 a.m. till maybe 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, you got to get that Young and the Restless in. You got to get that Bold and the Beautiful, As the World Turned, Guiding Light. My mom had me sitting there with her before I went to elementary school, watching all the soaps, as she called it, her shows.
Right. Her
And
stories.
then there's The Price is Right in the middle.
Her stories.
Yes.
That's when you had to watch what was on TV. You had no choice.
Exactly.
There was no streaming, no options. You just had to watch what was on those 6 channels.
And that's another
And
thing.
it would
With the
go
bunny
off
ears.
up until like Ted Turner created CNN and ESPN, it would go off. Television would go off at midnight.
I remember. Well, I don't remember that, but I heard that
Why
before.
you gotta say it like that?
I heard that before. I remember someone telling me that before. and they said that like the American flag would come on or something like that, or
Yeah.
song or something like that.
I
The
recently
national
posted
anthem.
that on my Facebook just like a week ago. Random Looker says Captain Planet had me inspired.
That wasn't my
Captain
era.
Planet. Do you guys? Don Cheadle also played the live version of Captain Planet.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Google it. Yeah, Google it.
Oh, remember what's the one with the sweater, the cardigan, Mr. Rod? Oh, that's after your time, Isaiah, right?
Hey, look, I was there for Mr. Rogers.
Oh, you were there? Okay, you were there. Okay.
In Louisiana, we had in my hometown, we had a locally produced children's show that aired from 8 until 9 in the morning. It was called Buckskin Bill. And every Monday morning, he'd do the march. He'd have this buckskin suit on with the frills on it, and he'd have his cane. And I'd get my cane and I'd march with him at home.
Oh.
And little did I know I would end up at the same TV station.
That's cool. That's dope.
You know? And I used to go on the set and see where he did the show. But it was an incredible time. But what do you guys suggest? I think because there are a lot of options and resources out there for parents who may have their children watching television, social media, YouTube, they just need to carefully monitor and pick it. Put locks on those iPads and on those phones so the kids can't venture off and go into the wrong place.
I think that part of it, a big part of it, is the screen time. I think there needs to be a limit on screen time, period, whether it be a big screen or a phone screen. And because I've seen children where, like, you know, they're looking at Miss Rachel on the phone, and parents take the phone, okay, like it's time to say goodnight to Miss Rachel, and it's a freaking meltdown.
Oh yeah, I've seen those videos.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say one thing before we get off in 1 minute. Kids are not going outside. I remember I used to go outside and I'll be 15 blocks away from my house. Not supposed to be, but I'll be like
outside.
I was exploring. They're not doing that. I don't see kids, doing that anymore. They're just in the iPad or on the phone or on social media or doing TikTok dances.
Or takeovers.
TikTok dances.
One day I'll tell you about my underground sewer adventures as a kid.
Oh yeah,
You're living like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
What's that?
That's Buckskin Bill.
All right, we got 30 seconds left.
All right, 30 seconds. So we want to thank you guys for joining us and remind you that The Factor Uncensored comes your way tonight at 10:30. And hopefully you will join us, and thank you guys for commenting and leaving your comments on the stream. Clever Girl reads really quick. It's only older people at the park with me in the morning. Exercising. What happened to the young people? But thank you guys for joining us. Sonora and Keyshawn, you want to say your salutations? Goodbye to the people.
Goodbye, everyone.
Have
a safe holiday, okay? Have a safe holiday. Be good. Be good, y'all.
I'm doing the Isaiah.